I thought, okay, I still have time. There's still sunlight. I can still get this filmed. And then I'm like, what is this? Oh, yeah, that's the sunlight that's almost gone. So let's see if we can get all this done. Also, hi, hello. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on the channel, we talk about everything from homeschooling to housekeeping, homekeeping. That's kind of the same thing, right? We talk about all the things lifestyle-ish. And I wanted to talk about the lifestyle and maybe more so the housekeeping and the homekeeping of things. Look, my hair is like, it's always doing something crazy. So that's kind of what life is doing, right? This time I did make some notes in my planner to kind of go over a couple of things, what this is going to entail, what I'm looking at, what I'm hoping that it will be. This is my attempt to getting things in order. First, let me be totally honest and say, I don't know that I have ever had life where I could be like, everything is running so smoothly. I think I have always had this undercurrent of not being on top of things all the time. Also, I know that I expect a lot from me. I'm not going to dive into where I think maybe that could have contributed in my life, or where, you know, just I have always felt this, like, it's never quite to the bar I needed to be at. It's never enough. And so I know that some of that is going to stem from these things. But I do, like, I don't know if it's hindsight that I'm like, oh yeah, I had a baking day, a wash day, you know, this is kind of the rhythm of the life that life was taking, and it was working out okay. I won't say that we were right on top of everything at all times, because I know in those moments I didn't feel like I was. But it has just, the last few years, to be quite honest, has just really felt crazy. And I'm like, how do I get some kind of rhythm, and how can I get things in order? And that is kind of something that I've just been hearing from the Lord, is I would like for you to start getting some stuff in order. But also, I think too, which kind of is where I'm not seeing how it's going to work out, is that I can't stress about it, because he very much has let me know I am not in control. I like to think that I am, but I need to surrender to him and just trust. He has never taken an L before, and he won't again. And so that, two kind of different ends of the spectrum, where I need to get things in order, but I also need to know ultimately God is in control. So I'm still figuring out how that's going to look and how it's going to work. I did jot down some ideas of things that I was feeling led to do. I want to declutter. We have taken a couple of moves, and things are just like in boxes still, and there's so much stuff to go through. There are things that I am like, I thought we owned that. Where is it? And we don't know. And that really irks me. It's one of my pet peeves that is happening, is that I thought we owned this, and then I'll go out and buy the replacement, and then either it won't ever show up, or it does show up, and now I'm like, I knew we had this, or it's just gonna stay in the back of my mind. I would love to just figure out what the heck is in these last couple of boxes that are hidden around everywhere, and do we need them? Can we get rid of it? Can we declutter a little bit? Now, I know at the time of filming, this is still November. I don't know if this video will come out in November or December-ish, maybe even January, I don't know. So I know it may not feel like declutter time, but mentally I'm so ready for this, and we need to get going on it. That is going to be a big portion of it, but also I want to find some rhythms to our days again. It felt like we were getting into a pretty good rhythm, a morning routine actually, in the summer time, and then winter came. We just had a time change, and it kind of just changed everything, where now it's hard, really hard, to get up in the mornings. It is so cold, and we haven't even hit the cold yet, and it's dark still, and I don't want to get up and do the things I need to do, or the things that I was doing. And so I need to kind of relook at what's happening and what's going on. I also need to look at my schedule. I know that I have said this before, where my busy may not be your version of busy, but life is busy for me right now, and it just feels like maybe I've signed myself up for too many commitments, or maybe the commitments are fine, and it's because my home feels so cluttered that the commitments feel like too much. I hope that that's making sense, because in my head I'm like, yeah, when your home is cluttered, your brain feels overwhelmed, so that even like a couple of small outings feels like a ton. I'm going to take a look at that, see if we can't match up our rhythms to the seasons. So we're going to have like winter rhythms and summer ones. I don't even know how many times I can say rhythms in this video. So different schedules, different things going on, right? And then let myself be okay with that sometimes we have to pivot in life and change things up a little bit. That's why I keep calling it rhythms instead of routines, because routines seem like a more set, hard, like this is what has to happen, and a rhythm is just like the rhythm of your life, and this is kind of what we do, and this is the way it flows. So do with that what you will, because you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a schedule, a rhythm, a routine. And this is the hard line that we're drawing in the sand. I don't know, but this is kind of where I'm aiming for, is that I need to have some kind of semblance of like, I don't want to say control, but it kind of sounds like that's what I'm saying, right? We just went on this whole thing about how, you know, that need to control may actually be leading into more stress for me, like maybe actually piling it on for me. That is another thing that I've been looking at, my health and things. We've had a slew of things that have happened this past year, tests and things, and we just started getting some stuff back, and we're in this period where we're going to try to make some changes and see if we can't fix it on our own before we have to take some other more drastic or permanent measures. I'm really hoping and praying that I can figure out how to maybe tweak some things in my life, and so I don't have to do these other, it doesn't lead to more health problems or more serious things that I have to do. So yeah, that's where we're at, and this needs to be done. Some of the areas that things need to be done in is, first, our finances. I talk about this where every month I'm like, this month, and it doesn't happen. And so it's mid-month for me currently, and I'm just gonna sit down. After this, I'm gonna sit down. Actually, after this, I'm gonna go make dinner, and then the plan is to sit down. But see, this is what happens. I keep doing that, where I'm gonna take care of this, and then I'll take care of that, and I'm all over the place. But we really need to take a look at our finances, figure out first where we're spending money. Where is it actually going? How much are we spending on groceries this day? How much am I filling my gas tank these days? Because I am running more errands, and I am using our vehicle more often. And where I used to be able to not fill up the gas tank so often, I think I have to do it more often now, because these things keep happening and popping up. And then after we figure out where the spending is going, how much is actually going in all these categories, what categories we want to have. You know, we have our groceries and household in one. Maybe we want to split that up and do groceries as one line and household in another, or maybe we just keep it together. But whatever it is, we've got to figure it out and decide, so we can know where our money is going. And then once I have that down, I'd like to create the budget from that. So here's what we have been spending. How much do we want to spend in each of these categories? And then after that, how am I going to track and hold ourselves accountable for it? So I keep looking down because, like I said, I have notes in here. So another thing that we need to do is declutter, and that is going to be in different areas of the home. I don't have a set game plan, like I don't have like room for room how I'm going to take it, because I have several projects already half started. One of them is like the pantry. I even started recording, but then that schedule in the week got even busier, so I stopped. Then my back went out, and now the pantry is just right back to where it was before. So we're going to continue on with that and just kind of see if we can do one project at a time. I'm going to maybe make a list of the areas and the projects that I want to get done, and that way I can feel like it's on paper and I don't have to constantly just be thinking about it in the back of my mind. And then let's talk about these daily rhythms and weekly rhythms and just how that's going to flow, or how I hope it is going to go. There are a lot of different categories in my life that make up my life, right? So I am still a homeschooling mom. We do have one graduate, but he is still here at home and still needs some guidance. And so that is a new chapter for both of us. And this is a new season, and figuring out how and what and all those things. So being a mama is just one exciting thing. Then you tack on homeschooling, which is another level of things that we are doing. And then there are things like Bible studies, and how many do I want to participate in? I think that maybe that might be one thing that I have to pull back on. I don't know. It's something that I'm praying about. It's how I want to just really lean in and see what would you have me do in this season, God? And how, not just for me personally, my Bible studies, but for my kids. They're not only doing Bible studies at home, but now we're participating in other ones for them as well in their current age groups. And so those kind of things. Also, another part of my life is being a wife, and being the kind of house manager. So I take care of the groceries, and I take care of the daily kind of daytime errands that need to be done, things like that sort of stuff. And so there's a lot in there that needs to be managed, and we need to figure out how to do it. I have a couple of different things that I've been thinking about. Like I said before, we used to have a baking day, and then I had like an errands day, and then I had, a day where we did laundry. This was when my kids were much younger though. So I could kind of piece it out like that, where we only had to run errands maybe once or twice a week. And now with kids' activities ramping up and my activities ramping up, that takes place several times a week. And so that, like, a one day only. But maybe what we do is we only schedule extra appointments on 2 days out of the week, or maybe, things like that. So I've heard on a podcast the other day this mama who was like, we only do appointments, we will only take like doctor's appointments or things like that, extra appointments during these set hours, because I know by that time we've already finished our homeschool for the day, and this is what works best for us. So she never makes morning appointment doctor appointments, because that morning block of time is set for her homeschool and no extra appointments get made in there. And so maybe we want to do something like that. I don't know. We're going to marinate on it. We're going to talk it through. We're going to see what works for us. If you have any ideas for any of these things, please let me know. I'm so open to suggestions. But that is something that we want to, with the royal we, I want to work on as well. So and then lastly, that I had just jotted down, but I'm sure this is going to turn into so many different areas. But part of the household management is keeping the home clean. So not only just decluttering, but how do we go about keeping it tidy, and how do I go about setting a routine to getting it done? So for a little while I was diving into Fly Lady, and I kind of really liked it, but we moved and things happened, and I never got back into that rhythm. But I love that that's what she has, is that she's got like this morning routine, a little afternoon routine, and an evening routine, and it helps her to stay on track of cleaning and getting things done. So one load of laundry a day. She has broken up her calendar in like, this week we are looking at a particular area of our home, and that's the area that's going to get deep cleaned. And so we don't need to worry about deep cleaning the bathrooms this week, because that's not the area. But maybe next week is when you deep clean the bathrooms. And so that way throughout the month, everything's getting done. I have some old Fly Lady videos on this channel if you want to check it out the first time we went through it, but I have a feeling we're going to try to incorporate something like that again. So that is my big rambling video. If you stuck it out with me, thank you so much. If you have any suggestions, if you have any rhythms, routines, schedules that work for you, or just a note of encouragement, I would completely appreciate it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate that you take your time out and spend it here with me. Thanks for watching.